Hello, my name is Derek Carney, and for my English project, I decided to do a YouTube video, and I'm just going to talk about places I've been and things I've done. So the first thing I would like to talk about are places I have been. As you can see on the screen, these are models that I have gotten from all over the world. For instance, I got the Eiffel Tower model from Paris, the Leaning Tower of Pisa model from Italy, and the Empire State Building model from New York City. So the first place I would like to talk about is New York City. In New York City, we basically took a tour of the entire city and saw some very famous landmarks. We saw famous landmarks such as the Statue of Liberty, the Empire State Building, and Central Park. The next place I would like to talk about is Paris. And in Paris, we pretty much did the same thing. We took a huge tour of the city, and we saw the Eiffel Tower, we saw a ton of museums, we saw Notre Dame, and we also saw the Louvre. And if you don't know what the Louvre is basically a museum that houses just a ton of extremely famous paintings, including the Mona Lisa, which we also saw. So the next place I would like to talk about is Italy. In Italy, we basically went all over the country. We saw all the major cities such as Florence, Rome, and Venice. My favorite landmark to see in Italy was the Colosseum, because that's where the gladiators would fight. My favorite city to see in Italy was Venice, because it was such a different lifestyle from any other place, because like everyone traveled by boat, and it was just very unique and kind of cool to see. The next thing I would like to talk about are some of my favorite video games. My favorite video game of all time is the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. One thing I just really love about this game is the fact that you can do whatever you want. For instance, if a shopkeeper rips you off in this game, you can just stab him in the throat, and it's great. And it's just this massive world where you can, and when I say you can do anything, you can pretty much do anything. Like, you can be whoever you want to be. If you just want to be this, like, really, really bad person, you can. Like, you can just go into any town and just brutally slaughter just everyone, and people can fear you, and it's awesome. You could also do like really good things in this game and be like a hero to everyone. So I love the fact that you can just choose like whatever path you want to take, and choices in this game do have consequences unlike most games, and it's just super interesting to see how you shape the world in this game. This game also spawned this really stupid arrow to the knee meme, and if you've played the game, you'll get it. The next game I would like to talk about is the game BioShock Infinite. I think this game is extremely underrated. Not many people have really played it or heard about it. And basically, the plot of this game is it takes place in the 1920s, and there's this guy named Booker DeWitt, and he's kind of in a lot of trouble with the mafia because he's just like extremely high in gambling debt, and he's an alcoholic also. So he's approached by these two kind of mysterious people who tell him that if he basically goes to the city named Columbia and gets this girl from there and gets her back to them, they will wipe away his gambling debt and his trouble with the mafia. And later he finds out that Columbia is a floating city in the sky that is controlled by this just absolute dictator who makes himself out to be just this like god-like figure among his people. And it's just this really fascinating game, and it actually has a lot of social commentary on religion and racism, and yeah, it's just a great game. So the next thing I would like to talk about are some of my favorite movies of all. So the first movie I would like to talk about is The Lord of the Rings: Return of the King. The reason I like this movie so much is because it's just like this really satisfying ending to a really great trilogy, and I think this movie ranked as like number like 9 or 8 on IMDb's top like 250 or something like that. It also spawned this really stupid meme, the one does not simply meme. Thank God it's dead, because it was, yeah, it's terrible. And the Hobbit movies, in my opinion, kinda suck. So the next movie I would like to talk about is the movie Blade Runner, which is also one of my favorite movies of all time. Blade Runner basically is about this guy named Deckard, who is a Blade Runner, and Blade Runners are these people who live in the future, and they're basically hired to hunt down these robots named replicants who the reason they're so feared are because of how intelligent they are. So the reason these replicants are so intelligent is because they were originally made to be slaves to the human race. They were supposed to be used to like for constructional reasons and stuff like that. But since they are incredibly intelligent, they turned on the humans and wound up killing a ton of people. A rebellion started, so now they're not allowed to come back to Earth. And when they do come back to Earth, people like Deckard are hired to kill them. So this movie was actually incredibly boring the first time I watched it, but then I think I saw like an explanation video, and then I rewatched the movie and came to realize that this is actually a very intelligent movie that deals a lot with stuff like the meaning of life and what it means to be human. This movie also raises a lot of very interesting questions, and it really goes to show that this movie proves that some movies can be more than just movies and can actually be these really intelligent pieces of artwork. The last thing I would like to talk about is my favorite TV show. My favorite TV show is Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad is this really good TV show that is extremely hard to turn off once you've gotten really into it. And it's basically about this chemistry teacher who finds out he has lung cancer and that he doesn't have very long to live. And his family is going through these really tough financial issues. And so what he does is he basically starts selling meth, and it's really good. It kind of sounds stupid now that I say it out loud, but it is actually just a super good show. So that is basically my digital English project. Thank you for listening.